So today we're talking about two of my favorite things, One Tree Hill and editing. Hey everyone, it's Megan and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about two of my favorite things. One happens to be my favorite TV show, One Tree Hill, and the other is editing. So in college, I was taking this editing course and we had to do this project, which was analyze the editing for either a movie or a TV show. I happened to pick my favorite show, One Tree Hill, because after watching it for the millionth time, I realized how great the editing is within the show, and it's another reason that makes me love the show so much is the editing within it. And I highly recommend anyone who likes to edit to watch the show, even though you may not agree or like the storylines within the show. The editing is really kind of amazing. So some of the things that I'm going to go over in this video are, dissolves, transitions, L cuts, J cuts, flashbacks, graphic matches, quick cuts, straight cuts, coloring, sound, voiceovers, non-diegetic sound, and diegetic sound. That is horribly said, right? But I'm looking at it and it's just like the word is not, it's just not registering in my head. So I apologize for that. I should know that. I do. So what those basically are when it comes to sound editing is one is the music within the show. So if it's like a band playing, it would be, so if there had been a band playing on the show, it would be a diegetic sound / music. If it's edited into the show like a montage, then it'd be a non-diegetic sound / music. So that's the difference between the two of them. And one of the things that One Tree Hill was really good about was doing that. You'd have live music play on the show. Well, technically live music, because it wasn't really live music. It was just music that made it seem like it was live, and it wasn't like technically edited into the show, even though most music is edited into the show. But that's another story. So you had that, and then you had music that would like play within the background or within a montage, and they were always so good about picking and choosing what they wanted to play and the music that was within the show, because it was a combination of like current hits and old songs, and it just kind of mixed all well, and it's like the placement of each song was done beautifully. One of the reasons why music was so important was because one of the main characters, she had this whole record collection that like fit up an entire wall. She went into music industry and she ended up creating her own music label, her own record label. Another main character went into music as well, but she went in differently because she went in as an actual artist. And then she didn't actually like record her first sound album until later in the series, but music was a big thing. They also had a nightclub there that would play live music and would have DJs, and different dance nights would have different different types of music playing. So it was a huge factor in the show to begin with. Now here are a couple examples of the different types of editing when it comes to sound. I shall be.
missed you.
She's no good with words, but I'm worse. But started out a joke of a romantic stuck to my tongue. Way down.
Kind of.
You know that he told me not to come home, right? You know that.
Look, mostly I'm here because of us, Haley.
I don't know what to say. I am.
Another reason that the music is so important to One Tree Hill is a couple of different reasons. One, it's because each episode is named after a song. Another reason is that they've had a couple different recording artists on the show, both as characters and as themselves. You have Gavin DeGraw, who sings the theme song. He's been in a couple episodes. You had Sheryl Crow show up. You've had a bunch of different bands like Fall Out Boy, Jimmy Eat World, The Wreckers, all show up to play in Trick. There's also the character of Chris Keller, who is played by Tyler Hilton. And then in the later seasons, you have Kate Vogel, who played Mia, who is the recording artist that Peyton ends up signing to her record label. So you have a bunch of different those. And then you also have Jana Kramer, who is a country artist, who was on the show. She started out as an actress, and then she went into singing, later went into a career. Just like you had Bethany Joy Lenz, who played Haley. She was singing, as I had mentioned. So with the music, I'm going to move over to voiceovers. That was another big thing that was in the show, was voiceovers. Almost every single episode, if not every single episode, had a voiceover on it. It was something that was like written within the show. Each character got a voiceover for each episode, and it was either a quote written by the show, or a quote that was taken from like someone in writing and in history and all different types of places. So it was just one of the big things that was within the show was the voiceovers. And there were some really kind of amazing voiceovers in the show, some like iconic voiceovers. That sounds very silly. But yeah, so there were some very iconic voiceovers. One of the ones that I know sticks with me always is the voiceover that was at the end of the episode where they had a school shooting, because it's still something that I believe, can relate to in this day and age. So it's one of the ones that has always stuck with me and will always stick with me. Here are a couple examples of a few of the voiceovers, some of the ones that I felt were best. I mean, I won't play them all. I won't play the whole thing for you, but I just want you to kind of get an idea of what they went with and how they did things.
Does this darkness have a name? This cruelty, this hatred? How did it find us? Did it steal into our lives, or did we seek it out and embrace it? what happened to us. That we now send our children into the world like we send young men to war, hoping for their safe return, but knowing that some will be lost along the way. When did we lose our way? Consumed by the shadows, swallowed whole by the darkness.
He's gone, Danny. He's gone.
Does this darkness have a name? Is it your name?
You're gonna be swept off your feet.
6 billion people in the world.
Don't know when.
6 billion souls.
Why?
And sometimes, all you need is one.
Now is the time for us to shine. The time when our dreams are within reach and possibilities vast. Now is the time for all of us to become the people we've always dreamed of being. This is your world. You're here.
Beautiful child.
You matter.
Just relax.
We're dead.
It's all good. We did so good. We have a son.
The world is waiting. Welcome to the world, James Lucas Scott. Look, it's your daddy.
Quentin Fields was a basketball player. He was also a son, a brother, somebody's teammate, somebody's friend. I didn't know Quentin Fields, and I guess now I never will. People say Quentin Fields was a great basketball player. Graceful, fluid, inspiring. They say on a good night it almost seemed as though he could fly. And now he can.
So that brings us to L cuts and J cuts. So what they are is they're audio and video mixed together. And they're different, but they're similar at the same time. So what an L cut is you see the footage and the scene from the last scene that you were just sawing, but you would hear the audio for the next scene that's about to play. Whereas a J cut, you would see the new scene, but the audio from the last scene going, still playing. And I'm sure there were plenty of them within the show. That was just one thing that I could never really kind of pinpoint exactly good scenes from them. So I don't have any to share with you, but I wish I did, because then I could kind of like show you what it is. But basically, it kind of looks it looks like what it's saying.
Easy, son. You're okay. Can you hear me? Hi.
I love you, you know that.
I know.
You really hurt my feelings when you said we weren't getting married.
So next up is slow motion. And basically slow motion is what it says. It's slow motion. It's a clip that's going slow. So you take a normal clip, normally filmed clip, and you just slow it down. And most of the time these are used for like heartbreaking scenes, for sad scenes, for uplifting scenes, like the married couple or the couple reuniting is running towards each other and they just kind of slow down as they're running into each other's arms. So it's many different things that it can be used for. I have a couple examples of slow motion from the show, so we'll play those.
You got nothing, Scott. Nothing.
I'm fine. Grandpa did save me.
For apologies.
Alright, so the next one I have is one of my favorites within the show, and that is graphic matches. They have done some amazing graphic matches when it comes to the show, and I will play the video and you can see all the different things that they have done, which are kind of spectacular if you think about it. And I was actually just watching an episode again the other night, and I found a couple more that I will be adding that are in this group because they're just so amazing. You just can't help but sit there and go like, how did someone think about this? Like, how did they go, oh well, let's do it this way, you know, it's just, it blows my mind some of the things that they were able to do and come up with. So without further ado, here are the examples I have.
Because the people doing the telling
You have a son?
Feeling better now. You must be on.
How are you?
Another editing technique that they used within One Tree Hill was called cross-cutting, which is basically two scenes happening at the same time, going back and forth between each other. It'd kind of be like a phone call. If one person showed on the screen, if one person was shown on the screen and at their house, and then it cuts to the other person shown at their house, and it cuts back and forth, that's cross-cutting. And now, here's a couple examples of that.
The Ravens have it, and they're going to hold on to the ball and shoot for the win. Set it up! 10 seconds remaining on the clock. Now 5!
Lou flashes in the paint. Fergie finds him on the wings.
Scott for the game!
Scott for the game!
Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world, Peyton. 4 years ago, it all seemed so clear, didn't it? Conquer the world, save the world, live happily ever after. Are you happy, Brooke? Sometimes.
Another editing technique that they used was superimposition. Is when you take two different scenes and you put them on top of each other so you can see them both at the same time, but they're layered one on top of the other. And there's only one scene that I know in particular that this was used, so now I will show it to you. And now, one of the last things before we get to some kind of basic editing tools that the majority of people know, we're going to talk about flashbacks. So there are different ways that you can do flashbacks. You can do it based on color, you can do it based on, flashes or transitions to try and figure it out. One thing that One Tree Hill did was they kind of did a white flash, and then it brought you to the flashback. Some of the other things they did was they kind of colored it a little bit differently to try and show that they were different times. But for the majority of it, it was white flash and then to the flashback. And they did quite a bit of them. So it was something that was normal within the show. It wasn't just a one-off type of thing, but they did a lot of flashbacks and memories and things like that. So here are a couple examples. One in particular is really kind of awesome because it involves one of the main characters driving a race car, and he's just having these memories of his soon-to-be ex-wife and how upset he is with her, and it's just really well done scene. So here it is.
Like a man possessed, a requiem. Like a man possessed, a requiem.
And so one day when he had screwed up yet again,
Trying to wake up my parents? It's their room.
wait, Haley, look, I need to apologize, okay?
You should buy them in bulk if you're gonna hand apologies out that often.
Look, I don't know how to do this, all right? I'm not like you.
What does that mean?
I screw up a lot. all right? And being around you, I don't want to be that guy anymore.
Well, who do you want to be, Nathan?
I want to be somebody who's good enough to be seen with you.
You should have thought of that last night. You know, I keep putting myself out there, and you keep blowing it. And it's probably a good thing, because at this point, there's nothing that you can say or do that's going to surprise me.
Everybody's watching you now.
That. Shouldn't have done that, Nathan.
I wanted to.
What happens next? I dare you to move. I dare you to move.
And they fell in love. And they had a son.
And if you sign with me, I promise you that the energy and resources that I'll dedicate to you and your career will be unmatched.
Okay, I'm in. Can I give you my 2 cents?
Sure.
This is all still about that wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
I think you can do better.
Babe, this guy's a big deal. I mean, he can change everything for me.
But you said it yourself, he's a bad guy.
And if I only represent good guys, I may have no clients at all.
No, I don't believe that. I don't think you do either.
The guy's great, Sarah.
He's not great. He's just a great player. And the man I love knows the difference. That's what's gonna make you a great agent. You'll find players that you can believe in and clients that become friends. You'll find someone who has integrity and character and heart. And that will change everything for you. And that's the man I fell in love with.
I love you, you know that.
I know. There.
Grip it in.
We just got men, we're tough.
You can't kill Dan Scott.
You could get yourself killed out here.
Exactly how you feel.
Now for the kind of normal editing techniques. You got the straight cut, you've got the quick cut, you've got the dissolve, transitions, fade, and they're all kind of within the normal realm of editing. Straight cut is just, you know, back and forth between the actors reading dialogue. See one phase, you go to the next, and vice versa. Dissolves and fades, they kind of help transition to a new scene, or maybe help out with a montage that kind of like fades between the two different scenes. So they're just, you know, little things to help move the story along and move the scene along, so you're not just staring at one person the entire time. And I mean, I can show you those. I have normal ones, but I feel like we all kind of know how those ones go. And some of them are kind of nice that they've done within the show, but it's more the other editing techniques that I kind of wanted to share with you. So that brings us to one of the final things, is the color. And I'm not gonna lie, that is one thing that I've always struggled with when it comes to my videos, is how to color correctly. And that is like a hard task to do. Some shows are darker than others because they need to be, because that's the tone. And really what the color does is it kind of sets the tone of the show. I know the script and the way the actors portray it sets the tone too, but color does too, because the darker the colors are, the more you get a sense of where the story's going. Like, if you were to look at the Vampire Diaries or Supernatural versus One Tree Hill, you would notice that Supernatural and Vampire Diaries are a lot darker in color than One Tree Hill. One Tree Hill is a lot more vibrant, and there are a lot more colors that pop because this is an upbeat teen drama versus something that's supernatural and there's death and destruction type of stuff. So it kind of helps really set that mood, and it plays a big part into, you know, also setting times too. Like I said with the flashbacks, sometimes flashbacks, they set them in different colors so you can differentiate between the two. Or if you wanted to make it look like an oldish movie, you would change the color too. Like, one of the things that you could do was, if you wanted it to be like an old black and white movie, you would turn the entire thing black and white, and you would get this sense that it was an old black and white movie type show. But it is something that you also have to realize, that you can't kind of wash out the actors either, or wash out the scene. You have to be very... Color editing, it really helps set the tone of the show and how you want it to be, whether you want it to be kind of like an edgier show, or you want it to be more fun and light and have, you know, people happy. So we're just gonna cut to a couple different ways they colored the show.
There's Rachel, Renee, ooh, and Nanny Carey.
I want you to get the hell out of my house right now!
So another thing when it comes to the color, the show from season 1 to 8, you know, it was a little bit more vibrant and a more upbeat type of thing, but then come season 9, it got a little bit darker, and so did the storyline, so you could see that it was taking a little bit of a darker turn when it came to the show. So those are other things that, you know, kind of make the show, those are some other things that kind of help make the show. And so these were just some of the different examples. One that I used in my class report. There are also examples that I wanted to share with you, because I truly believe that, you know, this show has done a spectacular job when it comes to editing, and whenever I watch it over and over again, I can see like new things and new techniques they used, and it just makes me really excited to see them. And again, this is one of the another reason why I love this show so much. I also do enjoy the storyline, the actors, and the characters, but one of the big things about the show for me was the editing that really got me into loving the show more than I actually did. So that's why I highly suggest, if you know you're big on editing and you want to, you know, kind of learn some things, One Tree Hill is a good show to kind of see different editing techniques, because they have done some, and there's a couple that I didn't really fit in any of the categories, but I still want to share with you, so here they are.
It's about your Uncle Keith.
Did you ever wonder what it would be like if you weren't you anymore? If you were suddenly gone, how would your world react?
Q, Where the hell are you, man? Tell me I didn't drag myself out of bed for nothing. Call me back.
Whatever you imagined is wrong.
Hey, what are you doing here? Haley, what happened?
There's nothing romantic about death. Grief is like the ocean. It's deep and dark and bigger than all of us.
This is one of the best classes I've ever had. A kick-ass 50 minutes, during which Bevan told me she always wanted to be a guy.
I spent the hour with Rachel, and I think she learned today that I am not an idiot. This is my picture of her.
So yeah, so if you have any comments or anything you want to add or any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. I really do enjoy, one, talking about the show, and two, talking about the editing for the show, because as I said, I love it so much. So please leave a comment down below and we can discuss. And also, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And until next time, bye guys.